grade on the Cowboys, but then, Jeff, we have to address the fact that you said that's a fun feeling.
Yeah.
That I've never taken the love of football from a man before, but that is a legit thing that you guys do?
Yeah. We came here in 2009. The Panthers did to play the Giants. It was a final game in the Meadowlands for the Giants. We won 41-9. That's their life drained from the defense. We rushed for like 300 yards. It was one of the coolest, because our job is hard as offensive linemen. You don't get the opportunity very often to feel that way, especially in the NFL. I mean, it's not going to happen as much as he thinks, I would imagine, but you can sense when defensive linemen are done for the day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That may affect your grade.
No, it's a cute clip. I was clear yesterday.
What?
That I wanted either a running back, and Omarion Hampton was still on the board. Great pick by the Chargers, by the way. He was on the board. There were a few receivers. I like Matthew Golden. A few receivers.
Micah wanted Tet McMillan, just to back you up a bit before. So he's when this pick came in, he seemed disappointed.
Yeah.
Lefko tried to clean it up for him, and then he's like, "No, I was just wanted." He's like, "I love the player. I just wanted it on my side of the ball." But four picks earlier,
he wanted
right? Four picks earlier when Tet went, he was like, "Man, I thought we were gonna get him."
Lefko's got a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't like it.
Can I change?
I love it. I love it. This is an A, baby. This is an A.
I was worried.
Because you know, Jeff, look, you know better than me. I am hard on the Cowboys, but one thing they do well is draft offensive linemen.
That's
first round.
Zach Martin, yes. I mean, they got a bunch of Hall of Famers. Tyler Smith's good. This guy, you got to have a line to run the football.
There we go.
And look, I know I ripped him a little bit tongue-in-cheek last year. Rico Dowdle, I don't know if that might have been a mistake to let him go.
Oh, now you like Rico Dowdle.
What, four of the last 6 games at 100, right. We'll see if Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams have anything left in them, but the line's going to be good. I love this pick. I'll give the Cowboys credit, and I felt as a non-football player the same way Micah did. That quote was awesome. That just makes you want to, I can't wait till this guy gets on the field.
Don't refer to yourself as a non-football player, by the way.
Decades ago, high school.
This is the right grade. The Cowboys might not be trusted to do other things. They drafted Teron Smith in the first round, Hall of Famer. Zach Martin in the first round, Hall of Famer. Travis Frederick was a 3-time All-Pro at center before he got hurt. They drafted Tyler Smith in the first round, who's now an All-Pro player. They do this really well. And sometimes we have to ignore the athletic scores, okay? His athletic scores are not great. Watch the film. Booker can play. The Cowboys wanted Tek McMillan won. Micah was right on that. He wasn't there. The next player up for them was Booker. And we talked about this yesterday. Everyone had a different grade on a lot of these guys this year. There wasn't consensus. But I was told for weeks that Booker was going higher than people thought, and he went at 12.
Yeah, listen, I echo what you guys are saying, which is you trust this team more than, honestly, any team in the league when it comes to highly drafted offensive linemen. They haven't missed on any of them. And of the guys you mentioned, the worst is Tyler Smith, who's a really good player. Right, worst, who's been an All-Pro. It just means he's not a lock-fire Hall of Famer or a multi-time All-Pro, right? And so I agree with that. I still worry for the Cowboys on, aside from CeeDee Lamb, how are their skill position players, different than the Patriots? Who are the go-to, you know what I mean? Where it's they have no one that, now, CeeDee's a great player, but when you don't have anyone else to even threaten the defense a bit, that they can then really focus on CeeDee. So now, listen, there's still a bunch of good running backs available, and maybe that's where they use their second-round pick, but that's when then all of a sudden, it's not like they had, to my eye, overwhelming talent coming back this year on defense outside of Micah. If you use your first-round pick on someone to help in the running game and your second-round pick on an actual running back, then what does that do on the offensive, the other side of it? So even though Booker was one of only 6 guys who got drafted last night who I didn't have in my mock, that was more because I thought teams weren't going to value a true guard. Like some of the other guys, offensive linemen, it's like he's a tackle, maybe transitions to guard. Everyone called Booker a true guard. But I'm not going to question the Cowboys on it. I just don't know how they're going to create explosive plays next year.
I just want them to support Dak.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the whole thing of how great do you think Dak Prescott is. And that's really what it gets reduced down to, because, you have some people that are kind of like, hey, as long as you protect Dak, give him a run game, he can wheel and deal and be special. And it's like, yeah, I guess so. If that's the way you want to take it. I do think the Cowboys do always draft well, but remember how they said that they're working on some like pretty big trades and whatnot, and it was like, well, were they supposed to be like trades within the draft? What is it like what other trades are you then, kind of specifically working on? And I know a lot of Cowboys fans are going to jump and be like, oh, well, you got to take care of the trenches. You got to take care of the trenches. You got to take care of the trenches. And like, that's all well and good. And it's true. But like, well, people keep getting twisted. Like, again, people keep using the Eagles as a reference point, and they're like, oh, they won because of, the O-line and the D-line and, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, but that's like not really true, because did Saquon Barkley benefit from a great O-line? Absolutely. Did Saquon Barkley be absolutely a monster after he got past that? Yes. It's not just because of the O-line and why he was able to rip off these 60-yard runs. The O-line definitely was massive in the pursuit of him, breaking records and whatnot. But like, the Philadelphia Eagles had an awesome O-line with other running backs in the past, and they did not do that. Does the O-line help, give Jalen Hurts time so he can wheel and deal to A.J. Brown and Devontae? Like, yes, but like, you still need A.J. Brown, Devontae, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts being able to use his legs to extend plays and convert first down, get first downs, like, make no mistake about it. The O-line, gave up pressure in the Super Bowl, and that's when Jalen Hurts was able to kind of, take off, beat the defense with his legs and his arm. And so, but it's all part of the team collectively. So like, it will be interesting to see what they do. I'm recording this before the second round, so when you're watching this, maybe they've already drafted like a running back or this or that. But like, yeah, I mean, to me, the way how this is unfolding right now for the Cowboys is that they're essentially building a team exactly how they've built teams for the last like 10 years or so. So, maybe it'll be this year, maybe it'll be next year. They'll be a pretty good team, and they can really beat up on the bad teams, and they'll find ways to win some games. But like, if you really think though that this is the step, especially because there were some interesting pieces available to them that could have had a massive impact for the Dallas Cowboys, that I think you start to build those weapons of Saquon, AJ, Devontae, Dallas, Cooper DeJean, CJ Gardner-Johnson, whatever it may be, and look beyond just, well, we need to find Lane Johnson, Mailata, and Jalen Carter. Like, it's just, the Cowboys, again, for the last 10 years have had that, and it's essentially, like, you see the limitations with Dak, and I think that continues to be the problem with the Dallas Cowboys, is failing to actually understand the limitations of Dak and the help that Dak needs from that perspective. So again, it's not like that this is a bad draft or a bad pick by any stretch of the imagination. And, protecting Dak is obviously important. He's coming off of multiple lower body injuries. He's getting older. He's not, he's on the wrong side of 30 for him. The surgery that he got and the injury that he got, like, was legit, was substantial relative to any of the other injuries that you can have. And so, keeping him upright and protected is obviously incredibly important. And, I do love that quote, and I do love the passion of Booker and all of that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the question is, and like I've said this for a lot of the other, drafts, is like, looking at these drafts on like a 2 to 3 year timeline. If you this is the way you draft in this first round, what are you expecting to do in 2026, 2027? But that is the thing about having Dak Prescott where he is right now, how much you're paying him, and his age and quality of play. Like, you you aren't in a wait and see with Dak Prescott, because what are you going to finally build a great roster and then Dak Prescott's going to be like 35 years old? Like that's not the way either. So I feel like I have to wait and see the rest. And again, I'm making this after the first round. I have to wait and see the way how the rest of the draft shapes up with it. But I think they continue to kind of undervalue some of these big pieces that they need for Dak Prescott. And, you know, if they build a great O-line and have a decent running back, you know, will they have a decent run game? Like, yeah, of course they will. And they've proven to be able to do that. But I feel as though that the Cowboys need like a dominant run game, or they need, you know, they need this offense to be flushed with weapons, or they need to be a dominant defense and a dominant run game, you know, pretty much kind of like a Harbaugh level offense. And then there you go. And, you know, they're not necessarily building that. And look what Harbaugh just built now. Look what Harbaugh just drafted with the running back. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of definitely one of the more wait and see type things. But I don't question the Cowboys draft too much because they obviously have done an awesome job throughout the years with their draft picks. But to me, I think it continues to be difficult because of Dak Prescott, honestly. Because of you're still trying to figure out what team do you need to build to win with Dak Prescott. And you've built great rosters in the past, winning 12 games. That's why I always say in all my Cowboys videos, and yet it hasn't been enough. And especially because in the playoffs, you're like, Dak, we need you to be, you know, pretty great, pretty special. And he fails to do so, which is why I say you either got to have stacked weapons or a stacked defense and an awesome run game so you can win a couple playoff games, asking Dak to do very little. And even then, it's hard to really go the distance, because even if you want to argue that the Eagles asked Jalen Hurts not to do a lot in the first few games, you know, and throughout the season, it's like he needed to step up in the playoffs. He needed to step up in the Super Bowl. The run game was not there for Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, and yet, you know, he became the leading rusher. He went above and beyond, and he was able to take them, you know, ultimately over that hump, whether Dallas Cowboys fans want to admit that or not. And so you got to figure out, how do you create a team that, you know, allows Dak to do less, but when you need Dak to be maximized in his own right, what are you asking him to do? And it's definitely not win a shootout in a playoff game, that's for sure. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? How do you feel about this draft pick? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.